This is Julie Birschbach, and I'm coming to you live from the Hive. We're running a little bit late today, but not to worry, we will still get through all our cards, and we'll make sure that you get a chance to see the beautiful cards. Hopefully that you've ordered them. I think I had 4 people that ordered kits to go. I do have 6 people tonight for class, and I think it's next week I have 4 people at my house for class. So I'm gonna flip the camera down and we're gonna get started here. I'm gonna show you the cards and we'll talk about them a little bit, okay? All right. This is, I'm trying to make sure I'm in here. This is our first card. Let me take it out of here because sometimes that plastic is just a little bit harder to see. So just simple card, nothing like too hard. And in the inside, I have stamped, "Your friendship means the world to me." On the outside, it says, "Thankful for you." Set that one off. Our second card, we're going to be doing a little bit of coloring here. And I'm going to show you how I trimmed this part out, because everyone is going to get the entire piece, and I did actually cut out of there, okay? And that one I kind of left blank inside, so if you want to put anything in there, you're welcome to, or you can write your own message. All right, on to card number 3. This one, I don't know. I think I call this my cream of the crop one just because I have, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 layers here, 2 layers there, and then all the coloring, some embossing, and I'm going to show you that I colored my the ribbon that goes into this kit. So I'm not sure if you guys like that ribbon. I think it's pretty. I just wish it was more pliable. Okay, and that one says, "Thankful for you." I just stamped some of the pumpkins in the inside, so we'll go through that. And then this month you got a bonus card, only because I needed a beautiful happy birthday card, and I wasn't exactly sure if anyone else did, but I thought, well, who can't use a birthday card? Nice guy birthday card, so pretty simple. Basically, we're gonna stamp the happy birthday there. This one I don't have anything stamped inside, but when I went through and I looked at through some of my stuff, I found this one. It says, "To someone worth celebrating every single day." And I thought, well, that's kind of a nice message to put in a guy's card, because sometimes I really don't know what to write in their cards. So I'll set those off. I'm going to show you the stamp sets that we used. I used the Amber Autumn stamp set, where I took these 2 and the Autumn Wishes. Gathering Moments, we took out "Your friendship means the world to me" and "Thankful for you." And then I did pull in the right words. That's where I took the happy birthday from, and "To someone worth celebrating every single day." That's where I pulled in the other one. Let's see. Dies, I used Autumn Trees, Stylish Shapes, Amber Autumn. Oh, and the other one on here, I used the branching out dies to cut. Okay. So let's show you this before I forget. If anyone wants to order these cards, I do have, I think I counted, I think I have about 4 kits left. So the cards are, it's normally 3 cards, but this month you get the bonus card. So if you want the cards, porch pickup is $19, or they're free with a $40 minimum order. If I mail them with Christine's mailing, then they're $21, but if I ship them directly to you, then they're $25, or free with a $60 minimum order. I do cash, Venmo, PayPal, check if you really want to, that's fine too. So I'm gonna let this here for a minute. If you do want these cards after you see that they're done, just please email me at my email address, which is juliebirschbach@gmail.com. All right, let's see who's all here before I continue. Hello, Julie. Hello, Mary Lemke. Let's flip back to this so you can see. Sandy Coy Emery. And Sandy, I know that you did order my card, so thank you. And Deb Norman. Hi, Deb. Thank you, Julie. I'm glad you like them. Linda Hall is here. She says, hello, Christine. Christine's upstairs right now. Kelly is here, and Kelly says hi as well. All right. Thank you, everybody. I have a little bit of a frog in my throat today. Every now and then I have to clear it, so excuse me for that. All right. This is our card number 1. Oh my goodness. This flipping back and forth is getting me crazy. All right, card number 1. This is this one. So let me grab my demo card here and get everything out for you. Okay. I kind of jumped the gun on this one a little bit. I already colored it ahead of time. And when I was doing it, I inadvertently threw the dimensionals on there. So not to worry though, we are going to color one. So I'm just going to set all my pieces off to the side. Hopefully I won't lose things. I'm going to set my card up here so I can see what I'm doing. All right. All right, that's my inside. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start by, if you notice I have some leaves on here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stamp and I'm going to use Early Espresso ink, and we're going to stamp some of them on here. I'm just trying to get the leaves on here. I don't really need the acorns, okay? So we're just going to stamp some. I did keep it folded, just so you know. Stamp some of them on there. I'm going to have to grab a clean there. And we're going to put a little bit more right down there. Okay? So this is basically all I did, was I'm just kind of giving the outside of that a little bit of a change. Let me close this up so I don't that, and then wipe that ink off of there, or I will have ink all over everything. As long as I have that out, let's clean this up here. We are going to stamp the acorn, but the acorn is actually going to be stamped in the memento because we are going to use some blends to color it. Let me grab a paper towel so I can dry this off here. Otherwise I'll have a wet card. Also, there, okay. All right. So this is how the front of it looks. Now what we need to do is we need to put this piece on, and I'm going to put this on an angle, and this piece is going to go on straight. Okay, so I'm just going to glue some of these things on just so we can kind of get them out of our way so I don't have everything laying around here. I do not always stamp everything first. I'm kind of fly by the seat of my pants some days. Okay. If you notice, this is embossed, and you want to make sure that your leaves either go up or down, however you want them. I'm going to actually put them up. I'm going to say mine have not fallen yet this fall. And there we go. We can also know that our circle is going to go right about in here. But before we can put our circle down, we'd have to put our ribbon behind, and we'd have to put our greens behind. So we're going to set this off to the side. Oh gosh. And we're going to get a little bit of coloring done. Let's stamp this. I think I forgot my reversible tweezers today, so this is gonna be a little interesting when I try to do some cute things close. Okay, so that's what I did, is I just stamped it in the memento. Get that cleaned up. Oh, Annette's bringing me one. Thanks, Annette. She's sharing. Is that yours?
That's what I bought for you.
Ah, that's the one she just bought from me. All right. Well, thanks for sharing. I might need that. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of coloring here and get those color blends here that you want. I am going to grab out my old olive. There we go. And I'm going to grab out my pecan pie and crumb cake. I think I got one of these mixed up. Pecan pie, crumb cake. Oh, and I'm also going to add a little bit of Cajun craze. Okay. So we're going to start with, make sure, because I do have other colors in there, make sure I got the right one. I'm going to start here with the old olive, and I'm just going to add a few little splotches on my leaves, just kind of where they have the lines to make it look like the dark spots. If you don't want the green leaves, you can color the leaves any color that you would like. Some people like to color them more fall colors, and that's okay. Suzanne, joining late. Trust me, you're not late. I was late, so you're right on time, girlfriend. Okay. My markers are starting to have seen better days. So I'm going to use the skinny end, or the pointer, instead of the brush thing. And we're just going to get those leaves colored in there. And I'm going to just go right over the top of what I already colored with the dark blender brush. Blender pen, I should say. They're not really a brush. And you can fussy cut these if you don't have the dies, so they're not too difficult to die cut, I don't think, or to fussy cut out. And this is on vanilla cardstock, so I did notice that this month I must have liked vanilla quite a bit, because I think every card has a vanilla envelope with it. So that was a little bit different for me. Usually my envelopes are white, but not this month. I think vanilla is a little more fall coloring. I'll just kind of color this in a little fast here so that we don't have to sit and watch me color all of it. Okay, we have that done. Next, I'm going to move on to the acorns, and I'm going to use my light crumb cake to start out with. And I'm just going to color in the light part here. The nut part, I guess, is what I'm saying, not the cap. There we go. Now, I also used the dark crumb cake, and I did put a few little swatches. This time I did the dark after. Then I came in with my light Cajun craze, because I wanted to give it just a little bit of a red touch, because sometimes I know that there's a little bit difference in there. Okay. Then last, I came back in with my pecan pie. Yep, pecan pie. And we're going to just color these. And this I am using the dark pecan pie. I did use the light on the acorn itself. And I also used the light Cajun craze. But If you do not want to add that in there, you don't have to. If you don't want the tops of your acorns to slide, you can easily use the lighter pecan pie, or you could use dark crumb cake if you don't like either of those. Oh, no white after Labor Day. Oh, thanks, Julie. Good to know that, but I think that's in pants, isn't it? I think that's what they always said, like, shouldn't wear white pants after Labor Day, but I'm pretty sure most people still wear them any time of the day. Hello, Sherry Martin. Nice that you could join me. Okay, so that is all done. But like I said, I already cheated. I color it one ahead of time, and you're gonna need dimensionals on the back. So if you wanna die cut yours out, add your dimensionals, and we can lay it off to the side. We'll use that other one later. We have to stamp Thankful for You, and the Thankful for You is coming from Gathering Moments, and I find it right there, and we are gonna stamp that in the espresso ink. Okay. I gave you a large enough piece to stamp it on, because what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of zigzag, I don't know if you can see that, zigzag cut around it. So that was my intention, that is what we're going to do, is just cut around it. Okay, and then as long as I have the ink open, I'm gonna finish the inside quick. Horizontal card, not vertical. And let's grab, it says, your friendship means the world to me, and that also came from Gathering Moments. I'm gonna stamp that right in the center here, line that up straight maybe. And there we go. And I'm gonna add a little bit of a leaf down here at the bottom, as long as I have them out. There. So now we should be done with stamping. So now I can clean up my little bit of a mess that I have going on here. Gosh. Anyone else enjoying the cooler weather, or would you like it a little bit warmer like it was in the last week? I'm kind of liking both. I like the fact that I get to wear my sweaters, but I also like the fact that last week I didn't need a jacket, and this week I do. So it's kind of a horse apiece, but I do like warmer weather, so I will get to experience a little bit warmer weather in no time. So my husband and I are heading to Florida the beginning of November. I'm gonna glue this to the brown piece here so that we got it all set, ready to add to the inside of our card. Anyway, we are heading to Florida in November. We'll be gone for probably 4 weeks total, or 3.5 weeks. And on our way, we are stopping in Tennessee. My daughter lives in Tennessee, and we are gonna stop and visit with her. I'm gonna glue this to the inside now. She just had her second baby, and we are super excited for her. She had a little boy, and she named him Noah Reese. So, and she does have another daughter, and her daughter is 6. And I just told her daughter, I said, you need to share your baby brother with Grandma and Grandpa when they come. So I don't know how much she's gonna share, because she's not much of a sharer when it comes to that. All right, we're just gonna zigzag kind of our little way around here. You can cut it as much as you want. You can cut it, if you don't want to zigzag around it and you have a die that you want to die cut it out with, or you just want to cut straight across, either of those ways work. I sometimes just like to pop in a little bit different of a way of doing some different things. And each one that I do is probably a little bit different. Sometimes I cut more, sometimes I cut less. So there we go. That is what we're doing. We're just trimming around there. Okay. I am gonna, for the purpose of this, I am going to grab my ribbon scissors and I'm going to cut this in half just because it's easier. It doesn't like to bend real well and stay quite the way I want it. So, knowing this circle is gonna go here and these are gonna go under it, I can already assemble my things as I want. I gave you a leaf, and when you die cut the leaf, you get the center piece that most people throw away. So, I don't know, to me they looked like little branches and I thought they looked kind of cool, so I decided to add them to my cards. So, all right, we're going to, let me look here. All right, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody's comments here. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of tear and tape to the back of this circle so that I can add my pieces in here. Okay, all righty. So, I am going to add, oops, grab my brown, the brown piece, and put them right there. My finger's stuck to that. And then I'm going to put the leaf right over it, or under it actually. And then I'm going to grab the tan one and I'm going to slip him in there too. Oops, get him on the tape. All right, so then they're both on there. They're both on the tear and tape. Barely, but they're on there. I'm going to add another piece of tear and tape. I'm going to make a tear and tape sandwich here, just because I want to make sure that those pieces stay on. Okay. And then I'm going to actually take my ribbon and put my ribbon in the back here. Kind of beat it a little bit like that. And now I'm going to use another piece of tear and tape and I'm going to make sure that ribbon is going to stay on the back. Okay, so that'll sit right in here and I'll trim those tails after. Okay, so we're going to get this off and add a little bit of glue here. Alrighty, and we're going to get him off here to the side. Whoopsie, whoopsie, whoops. There we go. I want a little bit of the green showing, but you don't need a lot if you don't want. And then we're going to add our acorns onto here. Like I said, with dimensionals. I did pop that up. You're going to watch the replay, Stampin' Up with Mama G. Okay. Thank you for watching the replay. All right, we're going to get them on there, just like that. The thankful for you is going to go right across here. And I don't want the U kind of just hanging out in midair, so I'm going to grab my black mini dimensionals. And I'm going to use my glue scissors and I'm going to snip one of those in half just so I can take this and stick a little one right at the end. Okay, there we go. Get that backing off of there and add just a little bit of glue. Ooh, not too much or it's going to pop out at me. There we go. And then I'm going to run that right across here. Just like that. Close that up so it doesn't dry out on me. So the only other thing we need to do now is add our embellishments. So we're going to put a, oh, they're stuck, a large one there. You may have two large ones and one small, or you might have it the opposite way. I usually try to mix them up a little bit so that I don't end up with all of one and none of the other. Yuck. All right, stuck there. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna trim this little bit of ribbon off here yet. There we go. And we already glued the inside in. So there we go. We have card number 1 done. Okay. If anyone is stamping along with me, I hope you're having fun making these cards. I'm going to put this one back in here so we get it out of the way. And stick this one in my envelope. There we go. 1 is done. Okay, anyone have questions? Nicole Herrick, hello, 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 hello. All right, now let's move on. Make sure I get the right card here for you guys. We are moving on to, this should be card number 2. Make sure I got the right one, yep. Okay, this is gonna be a crumb cake base. So, I'm going to set my card up here so I can use that kind of as a guide. Whew. Okay. Just a little stamping. I did color mine ahead of time just so that I didn't have to die cut for the live. So, but I will show you how I colored it. So I'm going to set him off to the side. We're going to get our embellishments out of the way. Ribbon, this is for the inside, this is for my pumpkins. All right, this is the piece. This is how it cut out, and I decided that I would just give everybody the whole piece, and I'm going to show you how to cut it out. And then what you cut out, you can easily keep, and you can cut those leaves apart. You can use them in different cards if you want, or you can toss it. It's your card. You can do what you want. All right, so when I look at my card has this cluster of the leaves off to the left-hand side. So that's how I'm going to grab my paper scissors here, and that's how I'm going to cut things out. So, all right, I am going to snip this guy out of here first, and then I'm going to come down here on the bottom, and I'm going to be careful when I do this because I want to round this a little bit here, but I don't want to cut, otherwise that I'll have two pieces that are kind of like split there. So, okay. Coming up to the top here, I'm going to snip off this guy here. So I've got that branch that's going to hang out. I do want to get rid of this leaf up here though. So I'm going to snip them in here and snip around. Now, when you're doing this, you can pretty much snip however you want. Like if you want more showing than what I'm showing, that's okay. Okay, whoops. I did not cut that one all the way through. Alrighty. Okay, so that's what I've got going on so far. I'm gonna snip this little guy over here on the side. Thank you, Suzanne. She said she liked that card. Anyone else like that card or things you're gonna change on it? And then I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna snip that little piece out. Okay, so this is what you end up with that you basically cut out of there. Like I said, you could easily trim around these and you could use those leaves. You could cut here and use that cluster. You could use the leaves separately, or you could use these as in a cluster. Easily don't throw them away. I mean, this is some really pretty paper, and I'm sure somebody's gonna find something to do with those extra pieces. So I'm gonna set them off to the side because I do have a bunch of these at home from cards that I made. So I'm gonna set these off to the side so I can reuse them. Okay. All right. So basically, let's get some of my stuff out of my way here so I'm not into all of it. Okay, so let's get a little bit of stamping done so that we can say we're done with our stamping. We are going to use Memento ink, and I am going to stamp Autumn Wishes on the label. I just want to practice here on a piece of scrap because this, just that it fits on your label. So, and I just want to make sure that it's stamping straight. It is stamping straight. Just needs a little more ink though. There we go. You could use the early espresso if you want on there instead of the black. So, but right now I have the Memento out, so I'm going to go ahead and just use the Memento. I'm just going to hold that on there for a little bit, let it marinate, make sure that hopefully I get a nice little stamp. There we go. That turned out pretty good. Like it. Okay. Now we need to stamp the pumpkins, and we are definitely going to stamp those in Memento because we are going to color them with some blends. Oh, and of course I have ink on my finger. That's why we have two sides of the paper. There we go. We should be good. Okay, we are done stamping. So let me close this up. Get that out of the way. Clean up my little mess I got going on here so that we don't have to, I think my original card, I think I actually did stamp it with the early espresso instead of the Memento ink. If I look a little closer, it's just, they're both very darks. All right, let's get that out of the way. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that the original one I stamped here in the early espresso, and this is the Memento. So you could do either of them, whichever you prefer. Okay. All right. Let's get a little bit coloring done, and then after we get the coloring done, then we can assemble and we'll be ready to rock and roll. This one, I'm gonna pull out the colors I used. Let's get some of these out of our way here. We did not use those. I used Timid Tiger, and I also used a little bit of Cajun Craze on my pumpkins. Oops, hang on here. And then I used, make sure I got them right here, Old Olive. And I used Daffodil Delight. Make sure I got the right ones, light and dark. Yep, Daffodil Delight. And I also pulled in Balmy Blue. I wanted to put a little bit of Balmy Blue on that one, so that's what I did. And I am gonna pull in my light crumb cake for the stems, and on some of the corn, the light and the dark crumb cake. So lots of colors, but we're gonna get through that. So I'm gonna start with that kind of different gourd, I guess it is. Okay, I am starting with the Balmy Blue, and I'm just adding a little bit of dark spots throughout it. And then I'm coming back with the light Balmy Blue to color it in. A lot of times I do the dark and then I will do the light, and sometimes the dark I don't feel shows through when I do it that way, which is fine. Then I go back with the light again over those same spots that I hit it with the dark, and it gives it a little bit of a hue, but it doesn't like overdo it. And if you do want more, you can come back with the dark again, and you can add dark. You can always add more, you just can't take it away. So, all right. Now we're gonna move on to the pumpkins. Those I used the dark timid tiger and the, I don't know if I used the light. I think I just used the dark timid tiger because I did throw some of that Cajun in there. So we're just gonna get him. Maybe I did use some of the light. I'm gonna just use some of this dark just as my accents. And yeah, I don't like to, when I color, I like to like just kind of splotch those colors in there because they're not always, colors don't always are perfect, I guess I should say, on my stuff. But when you look at a pumpkin, it's not like it starts and stops either. So, all right, then we are gonna use the light timid tiger. Blend him in here a little bit. I'm trying to go a little fast, but I don't want to be too sloppy either. Do have to be a little cautious when you do this one. Like right at the bottom, you're going to have your leaves from the corn. And I made my corn yellow, but someone else said, well, why didn't you make it Indian corn? Which I guess you could, but I think that'd be a lot of work to color all those little kernels different colors. And you also need to be a little cautious going around this little bit of a leaf. However, if you do get a little bit of orange in there, leaves have orange. I think we'll be good. There. Quick. Now what I did was I came back with the light Cajun Craze, and I wanted to give it a little more color, so I just swapped him in there occasionally on some of the spots. Just gave him a little bit different of a perspective than some of the spots. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's kind of hard on the camera, but sometimes when you color, like you'll get the lighter and the dark, and I just kind of let that because like a real pumpkin is kind of light and dark. Like there's not, it's never just a full perfect color. Okay, we're gonna let that there. We're gonna color the stem here of the right end here of the pumpkin, and I'm using the light crumb cake. Okay, now I'm going to use the old olive, the light one I have. I have to see which one I have. And I'm going to use the skinny end only because it's kind of hard to get some of these tiny little pieces that are here. I don't know, maybe it's just me. And I'm just going to color those greens in a little bit. Okay. I'm going to take my, let's see, I'm going to use the light crumb cake. And I'm just going to add down here side of the pumpkin, I'm just going to add a little bit of a shadow. Okay. Color in the leaves, as long as I've got the crumb cake open, the leaves for the corn. I did make them brown. If you want them green, you can make them green. I just thought brown would work since I'm going to have a green leaf. Okay. The corn, I did the Daffodil Delight, and I did want the dark only because I want it to show up a little bit more than, so we're going to get the dark daffodil in there. There we go. And then I used light and dark old olive for the leaves. And we're just try to get some of that veining in the leaf a little bit. It's a little bit harder to color when you're trying to do it on a live compared to when I'm at home and I really can take my time a little bit more and color. And I'm just coming back in now with the light old olive here. And if you see, I'll show you on my leaf here, I did get some orange from the pumpkin when I was coloring, which is not a bad thing. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's kind of like right in that area. There's a little bit of orange there. And I think it's just fine. I think it'll be fine. So I'm going to set this one off to the side because I did already have one colored and I die cut it so that we can continue on. Okay. All we have to do is assemble now. Okay. Let's burnish that card base again. Okay. I'm going to just open it up. And I'm going to add some glue to the back of the crumb cake embossed piece. Get it on there. Okay. And you just want to center that on your card front. And then we're going to come back and we're going to add glue to this because it is glued. It is glued flat. I was just double checking to make sure I did that right. So we're just going to add a little bit of glue here along the edges. You do not have to glue all your leaves down if you don't want to, but if you want to, you're more than welcome to put glue all over in your leaves here. I pretty much just went along the edge here. Okay. Oh, I know I'm gonna get glue on my fingers and that's okay. And then basically what we're gonna do is you are gonna lay that right over that piece, which it should line up exactly. Oops. If I don't move it. There we go. There. That is just over the top of that crumb cake piece. Okay. Pretty easy. The pumpkins are going to go down here in the corner. The pumpkins, the gourd, and the corn. I did use dimensionals on the back, so we're going to grab those if I know where I laid them. Yep, they're there. I'm going to throw a couple of those on the back. You can do as many or as few as you like. Sometimes I do use a combination of big ones and little ones. Some of those spots, sometimes it's easier to put two little ones than one big one. So we're going to grab that off of there. Get those backings off. Okay. Anyone have any plans for the weekend coming up? It'll be here before we know it again. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop this right down in here. On the back of my autumn wishes, I'm going to cut the ribbon in half and we're going to attach that with some tear and tape. Okay, I do have a ribbon scissors. Well, I do somewhere, but I'm not sure. So right now I'm going to use my glue ribbon, my glue one, and some tear and tape. Prep a little bit ahead of time, and I'm going to put it right under the wishes. So I'm going to add that to the back. Grab that off. Alrighty. There we go. And then we're gonna sandwich that over the top. And then, let's get rid of all these markers. Maybe that would help. Put them where they belong so that I'm not going to have them in my way. There we go. We're gonna add some dimensionals to the back of that. The white ones. And put a little one in each of the corners. Well, I shouldn't say each of the corners. This is gonna go over the pumpkin here, so I don't want a dimensional actually on that corner, okay? So I do want one at the top here though. And we're gonna put one right there. So I have 4 little ones on there. I'm just gonna peel the backs of those off. And then we're gonna pop that right over here. And, all right, there it is, it's hiding. And then I'm gonna just trim those ribbon tails. Our tear and tape away. Grab our dimensionals, or I'm sorry, embellishments. We're gonna stick one up in there. There's stuff in there. Another one there, and let's grab the 3rd one. I'll put him down in here. Whoops. Right around by the corner. There we go. So now we have all of those on there. Now we just need to finish the inside yet. The inside, I'm just going to take this little piece here, this strip of the Designer Series paper, and we're going to add him to the inside. Horizontal card again, so make sure that when you're stamping your inside, you remember that it's a horizontal card. Or you will have to flip it over and stamp it again. Okay. And then we're going to add that piece to the inside. There we go. Card number 2 is done. Okay, there we go. That is card number 2. Well, I don't know. Thanks, Nicole. Did I cut them out very carefully? I'm just trying to watch that when I do cut, like if you can see on this here one, I just didn't want it to be like I had the leaf cut apart. So, again, you can cut as much or as little out as you would like, okay? All right, let me get this one out of the way. And now we know that we're done with 2 of them. Grab this, stuff it in its envelope for later. Oh, there we go. Get him out of the way. And then, let me grab the next one. This is on to, whoops, I think I stuffed it in the wrong one. Or did I not? Nope. Card number 3. Thankful for You. Yep, this is the one. And it's got the pumpkin on the back. So, this one is going to take a little bit more. We did a little bit more with the coloring. Again, I used the Balmy there. This time I did use the, I made my leaves green on the corn. But you can make them brown, whatever color you would like. Let's get started. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'm not sure if anybody's seen the new Stamping Up sign up bonus that's going on. If you're not a demonstrator and you would like to join Stamping Up, I would love to have you join my team. Right now, I believe it is $35 and you get $125 of merchandise, or I believe it's $99 and you get $189 worth of merchandise. So not a bad deal. It's definitely, definitely something I would consider if I was not if I was just a hobby demonstrator or not a demonstrator and I wanted to take advantage of the awesome sign up that they have going on. All right, let's get those embellishments out of the way. We have lots of little pieces here today that we're working with. I hope I did, good, okay. You are going to have a green piece in there, a green label. I already stamped mine. We're gonna stamp it with Versamark ink, and then we're gonna use white embossing powder, and we're gonna heat set that, but for the sake of not having to run that while we're doing the live, I already pre-stamped that one. And I already pre-colored my pumpkins and gourds and corn so that I didn't have to die cut those out as well. So I'm gonna set both of those pieces off to the side so we can use them again. You will have a leaf and you're gonna have 2 pieces of wheat in your card. One is green, one is yellow, so use them however you would like. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that on the card, but that ribbon that's in your card, I actually colored it green. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna show you how you can change that ribbon up a little bit. But right now let's glue some of these pieces together so that we can kind of get some things out of our way and get some stamping done. All right. This is a very, very thin border. Like you basically don't have a lot of a border there at all. You're gonna have a piece like this. I did use the branching out dies, and to conserve paper, this piece is gonna be your top piece, and these 2 pieces are gonna go right over the top like this on the front of your card, okay? And then you have, for the inside, a piece of crumb cake and a piece of very vanilla. Okay, so should we put some of these pieces together so I have less on my counter, my table here? Burnish that. Open it up. I'm going to start with gluing a little bit here. And glue this one to the front. Make sure you always take your pieces and dry fit them to make sure that your cuts are where you want them to be. I usually cut all my own paper, so I try to be very accurate. Not that I am, but I try. All right. So if it's too big, whatever, you may have to trim down a little bit on your papers. When I'm working with like 1/16 of an inch, sometimes they seem like they're very close. So like I said, don't be afraid if you want to see more of a color and you want to trim down, by all means you are welcome to trim down. Okay. So it's a very, very little border. Very little of the early espresso border that you have on there. So if you want to see more of that, then you just need to trim your designer series paper down just a smidgen, okay? Again, you're going to see that I paper conserved, so I cut one of your greens out of your wheat pieces out of there, and I also cut your label out of there. So this is going to go on top here, and then we're going to put it right in the center of our card. And just know, with that being cut out, you don't want to put glue all over in the middle of your piece either. And if you do, you're just gonna have to make sure that you clean up your glue. Okay, now we can go ahead and put this glue on here, and we can catch those center pieces. Center of your card in the front here. I will show you how we're gonna get that label on there when we get that far. Okay. Now that we have those pieces done, we can kind of set that off to the side. The inside of the card is going to get a pumpkin stamped here and a pumpkin that we need here. So let's grab the pumpkin and Memento ink. All right. Okay. Alrighty. There's the pumpkin we're going to color. I'm going to put one down here, but I'm not putting the whole image in there. I'm just going to throw in part of it. You can throw in as much or as little as you want. There we go. That's about what I'm putting in mine. Okay, if you want to color that in, you definitely can color that in. Okay, let's close this up, get that out of the way, and clean up my mess here. All right, so now we gotta clean this up too. There we go. Okay, so if you were stamping your label, we are going to use the Thankful for You, and that is coming from Gathering Moments. Make sure I got the right one there. So what you're going to do is when you stamp this, you're going to keep it over to the left-hand side. You're going to stamp that in your Versamark ink, and then you're going to stamp it on here. And then you're going to add your white Versamark embossing powder, and you're going to heat set that. The reason you want to keep it off to the left is because I'm going to show you how we're going to get that on here, and we're going to actually trim that part off, okay? We're going to trim part of the label. So, all right, let's color our ribbon, because I'm sure everyone's kind of like coloring that ribbon. You can do it two different ways, okay? I colored it with Mossy Meadow because that's the color we're using. So if you have a Mossy Meadow blender brush that's old, like mine, and is kind of fraying and falling apart, you can color your ribbon. Just know that by using your blender brush, you are more than likely going to wreck the tip of it, okay? So, with that being said, if you don't want to do that, you can open up your ink. You can use a sponge dauber, and you can still color your ink, your ribbon. It's going to take a little bit more because if you notice with all the holes and stuff, it just takes a little more to color it. But it's not that you can't color it with your sponge dauber. If I had to wreck one thing, I would rather wreck a sponge dauber than I would a blender brush. Like I said, I had an old one, so I was okay with like using that on my other card. I would suggest maybe just coloring all of it or inking all of it just to make sure that you have enough of what you want. You will need to flip it over and do both sides to make sure that you have the coverage that you need. There we go. A little bit more to go. Okay, that's what I did. I colored it. Okay, and that's what we're going to use. Yes, I probably have ink on my fingers now. So, hang on, let me grab a baby wipe so I can just wipe that off. I don't want to get any of that on my card, so hang on. All right, I'm back. Thanks for waiting. Yeah, I would have had hues of green all over my cards. All right, let's get that out of the way. All right, and back to our coloring. Again, I'm going to use some of the same things that I did before. The Timid Tiger. Get some dark splotches in here. Everybody's pretty quiet today. Did everybody leave? Are you gonna come back and watch the replay? These are pretty fall cards. I just... not sure. Not sure at all. Okay. Does anyone have a favorite so far that they like of the cards, or are you waiting for the last one and then decide? Trying to see, I don't see any other comments here, so I'm not sure. All right. We'll just keep going. We'll just keep coloring, making our pumpkins pretty orange. Timid Tiger is the color that I'm using. If you don't have Timid Tiger, I'm sure you could use Pumpkin Pie, or you can use whatever color you want. If you want to make one of the larger pumpkins blue instead of the small little gourdy thing blue, you can do that too. All right, let's put in a little bit of some Cajun Craze in here. Okay. I just like the darker hues that kind of come off with the Cajun Craze. Just sporadically throwing a little of that in there. There we go. All right, done with that color. And let's color our corn. Not sure why I opened the skinny end, but I'll use that anyway. Get that corn colored. I did work on designing my November cards, so I will show those at the end. And then, let's see, I want light old olive first and dark old olive. There we go. I think I got old olive, yep. So I will share those with you at the end. And then, I'm not sure if anybody caught my live last month, but I did share that I had Christmas cards, and I do have one set of those left. There's actually, you get 14 of the cards, and 14 cards is $50. So I do have a flyer here that will show you 10 of the cards. So I can definitely share that with you. If anybody's interested in a few more Christmas cards. Let's color those greens. This corn has not dried yet. We're going to leave it green. Give it some greens yet. There we go. And then I'm going to use this time, make sure I got the right one, the light pecan pie. And I'm going to color the stems with the light pecan pie just to give it a little bit different color in there. Try not to make them all the same. Okay, and then, oh, thanks Kelly, I'm glad you're still watching. I wasn't sure if everybody just decided to leave and not have time to watch, which happens. I do the same thing when I'm watching lives. Sometimes I have to run off and finish something that I was in the middle of doing. So I'm going to use that Balmy Blue again here for this piece, for this guy. Let's get this one going. And I'm going to color some of those dark spots in, or the lines with the dark, I should say. And then I'm going to color him in. There we go. And I'm just going to come back and hit that a little bit more, only because I want a little more of that dark, of that blue in there. And let me grab the right color here. Let's see. That's dark old olive. I want, where did I put it? Mossy. I want the light mossy, only because we're working with mossy meadow. And I'm gonna do, because the light is actually kind of dark, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna hit those little pieces with that dark, or the light, I'm sorry, light mossy meadow. There. And, oops, let's get his stem. We're gonna give him a green stem. There we go. And then, if I can have any good part of this one left, we're gonna throw in a little bit of the mossy down here. And then, where'd I go with that? The light crumb cake. I'm gonna come back in and add some of the light crumb cake along the bottom. I'm gonna mix those two in together so that we get a blend. There we go. That gives it just that little shadowy towards the bottom, okay? You can actually add a little bit right in that one too if you would like. Ooh, you like sneak peeks. Well, I will show you that. I've been really busy trying to get a lot of cards done ahead of time, so I will share with you my November ones, and next week I'll be working on my December ones, so I have those. I already have January kitted up and designed, and I need to do February, March, and April, and I need to get all those done by the end of December. So I will be very busy stamping and designing and kitting in the next couple weeks. Okay, so this is what I colored today. This is the one that we're using. I just die cut it out early enough and put the other one off to the side. If you, my card, the thing is, this is popped up, everything else is not popped up, okay? So we're gonna start by taking that ribbon that we colored. We're gonna cut him right in half because we're gonna use half on each end. So let's start by cutting him in half. And hang on a sec. I felt like I was doing a lot of chatting, so I thought I better take a drink before I need to cough. All right, this is gonna go on here. We're gonna need dimensionals, so we're gonna add those to the back, get it prepped so it is ready to rock and roll when we are ready for it. I like to add the dimensionals to the back because then I can lay it on my piece and grab a little one for in here too. Two of them. Put one there and one more little one right in there. So what I can do now is I can lay this piece down here, and it allows me to see where the other things are gonna go so I can easily get them on my card, okay? One of those pieces of ribbon that you cut in half, we're gonna start with by cutting it in half again. There we go. And we're gonna add it down here by the corn. think I added a dimensional there first. Let's peel him off for a second. We're gonna add a little bit of tear and tape down there. Oh, I think I did too big. Yep, there we go. There, little bit of tear and tape. I might need a little more though later. Okay, now we're gonna take those two pieces that we cut in half, and we're gonna actually put them down here by the corn. Okay, out the bottom. Okay, just like that. Oops. It's hard when I don't have much. I don't have a whole lot of room on there for tear and tape, so we're gonna hold him on there, and we're gonna make sure he's stuck tight. There we go. Then I can still add in there. Perfect. Okay, that's how I just kind of hinged them in the back. I'm gonna take that off and I'm gonna put my dimensional back on there, because the dimensional will also help to hold my ribbon on there. If I can get this piece off. It's stuck. Stuck. Okay, well, we're gonna let him stick there, and I'm gonna put my dimensional right there. So now when I put this on here, I already have that ribbon off to the bottom. This piece we will also cut in half. So you're actually making, out of that long ribbon, you actually have four little pieces. You're actually cutting it in quarters. So it's gonna end up, and we want it to come out of here. So we want it to come off the top. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these pieces here, and we're gonna attach them to the back here, which I probably shouldn't have stuck on all my dimensionals right away. Jeez. Can you tell I made these cards like months ahead of time and I forget what I do sometimes? All right, add a little more tear and tape here, just so we can add some of these, or actually, let's use glue dots. Those will go faster. Okay. We have to work from the top down. So the first thing that we have to do is put a glue dot on the leaf. Decide where you want him on here, and I'm gonna put him right about here. Okay. Then I'm gonna grab another glue dot, and I'm gonna put that on the green wheat. And I'm gonna add that green wheat off to the side of the leaf, okay? We will secure those all to the back before we try to put that on there, okay? One more glue dot. I'm gonna use that last piece of wheat. Get them on there. And this time I'm gonna bring it off to the side of my leaf. You can have as little or as much of it as you want showing. Okay, now I want to secure that, so now I'm going to throw a little piece of tear and tape on the back there. There we go. Okay. The only other thing now that we have to do is we know that we have to get that ribbon in there. And if we lift this piece of tear and tape off, prep ourselves another piece, we can easily take these pieces and attach them to that tear and tape out of the back there. And we're going to put this other one right about here. Let's bring them over a little bit. I like them right behind that leaf a little bit. There we go. So now they were caught, and now we're going to catch them one more time. There we go. Let's get a little bit of this off so I think I can get my dimensionals back on there. Yes, we can. There we go. Now, everything has its dimensionals on. We're going to take the backings off. And so my November cards, just so you know, I'm not sure if I told you, are going to be with the Delicate Pines. So they will be a little Christmassy. Okay. Let's see, I'm gonna pull this off to the side a little bit, only because I want to add my embellishments there. So, and it's okay if your pumpkins are off a little bit, hanging off just a little bit. As long as you don't stick it down tight, you can easily lift those and move them. Okay, let's get this ribbons trimmed here on this one. On the other ones on the top, I just left them. I didn't trim them down at all, I left them. Now, you've already stamped this with Versamark and you've heat set it. Now you want to put it on your card and you want to be able to cut that extra off. So what I did, I want it to go along the espresso. I used my fingernail, drew a line, took my scissors and cut. That's what I did. Then all I did was I glued it on there, lining it back up on the edge of the espresso. Again, you can put it as high or as low as you want. If you want it out farther, you can make it out farther, but that's right where I wanted mine. So that's where I put it, and that's how I did it. You could use your bone folder also, just to go along the edge there, just to make a little mark so that you knew where to trim. But all right, let's get our embellishments on here. Oh my goodness, they're stuck up here. All right, I have a medium-sized one. I'll put him right up in here. And then, hopefully I can get this one. Yep. And then I'm gonna take the large one and also the littlest one. And we're gonna stick these guys right over here. I'm not sure where that went. Okay, so now you have the outside of the card done. We already, oh my goodness, stamped the inside. So we're just gonna take and glue those two together. Not sure what that was, but it was sticky. Okay. Like I said, you could easily color those pumpkins in if you want. I just chose to let them that color. I'm sure most of you are probably gonna take that little bit of extra time and maybe color them. And then line that up. Put that on the inside, and card number 3 is done. So this was the first one, and this is the one that we did today. So card number 3 is complete. So let's get him in his envelope here. Get him out of my way, and let's grab this piece and slide him in here. So we've got him for class tonight. Now you could easily, on a lot of these, like these pumpkins, you could easily take your Wink of Stella here and you could easily give it like some Stella on any of those pieces, kind of on your pumpkins. Just make them glisten a little bit. Just gives it a little extra, just like that. Not sure if that shows up very well on the camera, but that's where that's at. All right, let's stick him in there. I liked coloring that ribbon. I thought that just kind of gave it a little bit different of a look. So, all right, on to card number 4. This one is pretty easy peasy. I did not stamp anything on that, but we are going to stamp on the one that we do today. So let's get our pieces out. Let's put that away so I got that for later. Okay, get these little gems out of the way or I will lose them. And let's burnish this. Thanks, Kelly. I'm glad you liked that one. I like that one. I think that might have been one of my favorite ones. So, okay. DSP, basically, is going to go right on the front of your card. And then after that, we're going to put some glue on the tree and get the tree on there. So let's start. Move some of my pieces out of the way here. This card is actually a really quick card, and I like it. So when I have to make guy cards, it's like I made a bunch of these ahead of time because I have a lot of guys I need to send cards to, and they don't always like flowers. I don't know why, but I don't think they do. Not that they would turn the card down if they got a card, especially if my son would take it, especially if I put a little bit of cash in there, you know. They aren't going to care then if there's flowers on it. There we go. And just bring that down towards the bottom. This card, like I said, is really a quick card. So that, I think I was way down here. Let you guys see. Okay, then we're going to take the circle that was cut out by the Stylish Shapes. And I'm going to get him down here by the tree and off to the side. There we go. Your deer. I cut your deer out. I left it long so you could decide where you want to cut. Because if you ended up and you put your Stylish Shape circle over a little bit farther, and if I cut it this way, your deer would not be in that silhouette. So that's why I have not cut the extra off. Because if you ended up and you made your circle over there, you're going to need this extra. But since I need my deer right here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to use my fingernail and go along that edge. Or like I said, you could easily take the bone folder and you're going to go right along the edge so you know what you're cutting off. You want it to butt up against the designer series paper here. So, and then you're going to cut off your excess. You can toss that. Suzanne, card 3 is your favorite so far. Yeah, I agree with you. Card 3 is probably one of my favorites too. Okay, and bring my deer back down where I need them. The deer I did pop up, and I'm going to use some black dimensionals on them on the back. That's going to cut some of these apart because I did not bring any large ones along. So we'll cut some of these little pieces off. They're always useful. We don't want to waste that stuff. There we go. Nice. And then, oops, I do need some of these on the deer. So I'll put 1, 2. Little guy can have 1 in there. And then I am going to take one of these again, and I'm going to cut it in half with my glue scissors. I'm going to use a little piece on the mom by her head, and a little piece on the baby, kind of like by the neck. Okay, so that when they're on there, they're gonna be popped up. That's what I want them to be. This is going to go on here, and we're gonna just cut an angle. I did not cut angles on everybody's, so all you're gonna do is, if this was your paper here, you're going to just take it and just angle it, okay? So I'm gonna put this on here, and I'm okay with that being over the edge a little bit. But let's get that on there before we attach. And right at the edge here. Oh my goodness. Struggle is real some days. Okay, I have this little piece hanging over, and we're just gonna add a dimensional on there, just because I don't want him just flapping in the wind there. Okay, let's get these off. Not a lot of stamping on this card, basically the sentiment on the front and one on the inside. Does anyone else struggle sometimes making cards for guys? Because sometimes that's my struggle. Yeah, it's not always easy. It's not always a lot of things to choose from for them. Okay, I'm gonna keep my deer kind of towards the top, so I have a little bit of room down here for my ribbon. Okay, oops. All right. So let's get our stamping, and with our stamping we are using the Early Espresso ink. We're going to stamp the happy birthday. Your paper is larger than what you need, and I'm going to show you that I'm going to trim that down. Okay, so let's get the happy birthday on there. Oops, it is on there. There it is. And then on the inside, I told you this time I'm going to stamp. This is a vertical card, so make sure you always lay your strip of paper down here before you stamp. And the reason being is if you don't do that and you stamp in the middle, it's going to look a little kitty wonk. I'm just going to double check here, see how straight this is. Oh, it looks pretty good. Gives you that, allows you to move it over towards the middle a little bit more. There we go. I thought that was a cute saying to stick in the inside there. So with this, you don't have to. It's totally your call if you want to put the whole thing on there. I decided I wanted to trim it a little smaller, but I could not give you that small of a piece of paper to try and stamp on, because I'm sure you would have been very furious with me, being like, how does she expect us to get that on there? There we go. And that's how little I want mine. And I'm going to put it there, and I am going to add some dimensionals to the back. Let's get some of these scraps out of the way. There we go. So when I cut it down and it was like I could easily still get the small black dimensionals on the back without having to cut them down. All right, the backing's off of those. Put that out of our way. And we're going to put that right between the deer. Oh yeah, that would have been cute. Put it on upside down. Well, I've done that. That's when you just use your scissors and you cut it off and you flip it over the right way and continue on. Or you leave it that way and give it to your husband as a card and see if he actually notices. There we go. Little glue dot, added that ribbon in there. And then let's get some embellishments here. grab one down there. These embellishments, I wish they would make them a little bit, maybe not quite so thick. It would be a little bit easier when I do, when I send it in the mail. There, okay. See, that was actually really quick. Now we're just gonna glue this piece on here and then we can glue it to the inside. There we go. Again, when you put that piece on there, always check if it's hanging off the edge. Don't be afraid to go ahead and trim it. Like I said, I try my best to make sure everything lines up for you, but it doesn't always happen. There we go. Yeah, guy cards sometimes are really, really hard. I don't know. Like I said, there's not a ton of stuff, and the thing is with a guy card too. Okay, so what do you do if the guy's not a hunter? What do you do if he's not a fisherman? My husband doesn't hunt, he does not fish, so it's hard to make guy cards for him. So, okay, card number 4. That is your bonus card this time. I hope you really like that card. Simple, quick, just something different, I thought. Okay, now, does anyone have a favorite other than, I know Suzanne, you said card number 3 was your favorite. I'm not sure if anyone else has a favorite, or do you have one that you did not like? And if you didn't, tell me, because I want to know why you didn't like it, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I just want to know so it would help me in my designing as to what you're looking for. Okay, let's flip back to me so that you don't have to just hear me chatting away without seeing me do my little cleanup here quick. So was there a card that you were kind of like, it's okay, like not really my favorite one, but I'll make it anyway? Because sometimes I do that when I get card kits. There's some that I don't like, and then sometimes I just feel I have to change it. And you know what? It's your card. You should be able to change it, and you should be able to make it the way you want to make it. So, all right, I am going to flip back down, and I am going to show you my cards for November. Okay, here we go. Card number 1. Let's take it out of the plastic because it's so much prettier out of the plastic. Simple, simple. The pieces are all going to be die cut for you. So basically this one is assembly. That's it. Stamp a sentiment in the inside, and I did stamp some greens for the inside. Okay. And then on to card number 2. This is card number 2. This is stamped with the Birschbach and Pretty Peacock ink and embossed with clear embossing powder. This one is stamped with Birschbach ink on Pretty Peacock paper and white embossing powder. Okay. Your other pieces are going to be die cut out for you already, so you'll have all that. And then we're just going to add a sentiment to the inside and stamp a little bit of sprigs. Okay. And then I'm going to pull this in here so that if anybody wants to grab a picture of that. This is the last card. And this is cloud cover. So we're going to be stamping some cloud covered snowflakes, cutting them out, and then we're going to be adding the pretty little glimmery snowflakes with it, stamping a sentiment, and stamping a sentiment on the inside. So those are the 3 cards that will be for November. And if you look here, you can do a screenshot of that if you would like. You can find, I will be posting these on my page. So you'll be able to find that at Stamping in the Woods with Julie. I'll bring that up a little closer if that helps. My email address is juliebirschbach@gmail.com. The YouTube live will be on oops, I didn't change, you can tell I did not change that. It is not gonna be December. It is gonna be November. And let me double check on my phone because that's where all my stuff is in. It is November 5th. Okay. I should proofread my stuff before I bring it, but I did not do that. So, sorry about that, guys. It will be November 5th will be the YouTube live, and the in-person class will be November 5th at 6 o'clock. 3 cards, in person or porch pickup is $19 or free with a $40 minimum order at class. Online you can watch for free, and if you want kits then you can get kits. Okay. If you want them mailed and I can combine them with Christine's mailing, then they're $21. If I ship directly, it's going to have to be $25 to cover my end of the shipping. Okay, and that month is going to feature the Delicate Pines. So, again, these are the 3 cards for November. Okay, let's take a look at those, and then you can decide. I'll move them out of the way again in case anyone needs to grab a screenshot of that. Okay. All right. All right, I'm gonna flip back here. The cards are beautiful and you can't wait to get your kits. Your kits are here, Kelly. They are gonna be going out in Christine's mailing. So, oh, Sherry, you like the card with, where the leaves were cut out. Yeah, I like that one too, just because it's, like when I look at that, I just like that, kind of like that textured note, that glittery gold paper on there. I just think it gives it a whole different look. I think it's kind of cool. Makes it a little more fancy. Okay, let me grab this one sheet here. I'm going to put this up here and flip down. This was my Christmas card buffet class. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring the cards along to show you. But this is 10 of the cards, and there were 4 more cards. So there's a total of 14 cards, and it's $50. Okay? So I have one of those kits left. If anybody is interested in that, please send me a email. It will be first come, first serve, but that is all I have on my cards. I have cards from the other months also available. If you've had a chance to see any of my YouTube lives, there are cards that are available. So if you would like any of those, I, again, left kind of hurriedly today, and I forgot to bring all those samples along to share with you. So I will definitely try to remember that the next time, okay? All right, anybody have any last questions? Otherwise, I think I'm gonna wrap it up for today. I will give it a minute here and see. Usually it's a little laggy on my end, so I'm not sure. All right, I think that is pretty much all there is. So, all right, thanks everybody. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone that gets my card kits, I appreciate that so much. Thank you for supporting my small business. The ladies that come and stamp with me are amazing, and I love every one of them. I'm so happy that they enjoy making my cards. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the sunshine. Love, hugs, kisses. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Not exactly sure what's going on here, but if for whatever reason,